rumor has it you're a pretty good vocalist. Can you tell us a little about that? And if you want, share a sample of your talent.
Oh my gosh. Well, I thank you for having me today, and I wasn't expecting that. I have been singing since high school. I was in repertory theater and did ballet for 8 years, on point, modern jazz, and theater when I was in high school, and then repertory theater, and went to San Francisco State in the 60s, which at that time was the number two school for drama in the United States, second only to Carnegie Tech. So anybody who has sung as long as I have, you would get that same rumor because practice makes perfect. So the songs I sing in my shows are songs that I've been singing since I was a teenager and that my parents and grandparents, well, my parents, not my grandparents, but my parents played on the hi-fi when I was growing up.
So, any interest in sharing a sample of that?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I could do that for you right now because yesterday I did that, and my shows on Monday and Friday always have a song in the beginning because they're my shows and I love singing and I can just do that if I want. Now, let me just get YouTube open here and I'll sing something for you. This is what I sang yesterday. It should still be up on YouTube here. Yep, here we go. Let's see how we see if it's
You
going to be
want, let me
Oh,
Christy Williams, who's going to.
you know what this is? This is the ad. Okay, here we go. Sorry, everybody. This live. Okay. Yeah, I can sing you a little bit. I'll sing a little bit for you. I like the fire, and you place the flowers in the vase that you bought today. Staring at the fire for hours and hours while I listen to you play your love songs all night long for me, only for me. Come to me now and rest your head for just 5 minutes. Everything is good. Such a cozy room. The windows are illuminated by the evening sunshine through them. Fiery gems for you. Only for you. Our house is a very, very, very fine house with 2 cats in the yard. Life used to be so hard. Now everything is easy because of you. That ought to do that.
Thanks, Leslie.
You're welcome.
I hope no one's inspired to ask me to sing on the friendship bench. I'd like it to continue beyond 5.5 years. But thanks for that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And I'm going to keep going until I see hands come up. So, Leslie, tell us a little bit about your family and growing up, and your parents, your siblings, and stuff like that.
Well, this last Christmas, I wrote the first half of my memoir in a legacy anthology, and this Christmas I will do the second half because when you live as long as me, it just is going to take 2 parts. So I'm a second generation American, and My grandmother on my mother's side, they were five sisters, and they came from Russia when they were little girls. And my father, his side of the family came from Poland. And actually, he is a descendant of Leon Trotsky. So I always knew that I was the one who was supposed to be running Russia right now. And don't you know, I can do a better job than whoever is in there. Anyway, so my parents married in 1946 after World War II. My father got out of the military and they married, and I was born in Brooklyn, New York. And at about 3, we moved to Boston, and just outside Massachusetts, where I went to elementary school and a certain amount of high school. My father was an electrical and chemical engineer, worked on Nike Zeus anti-missile and Polaris for the Lockheed and different governmental contracts. And my mother was the one who had the flair for singing and dancing and acting. And she took, in Boston, she took some secretarial classes. But her brother, at that time, it was the boys who went to college. 1920s, etc. So she never got to go to college properly, but her older brother did. And on my father's side, there were 3 boys. Both of these mothers, my grandmothers, raised their children on their own because both grandfathers died during the great Spanish flu epidemic. So my grandmother that had 3 boys worked in ran a factory lunch counter from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And the 3 boys were pretty well on their own, and they did really well. My dad graduated at 15 and went to Cooper Union Engineering School that still to this day, I believe, only takes 100 students. So he was brilliant. And his brother Leo built Caesar's Palace, and I got to go there with the family when it opened way back when. And then my other uncle on my father's side led the IBM antitrust suit in the 60s, representing the United States. And he was a very well-known patent lawyer. So the real extreme intelligence came from my father's side, right? And it was his mother's uncle was Leon Trotsky. And on my mother's side, it was more the creative. Interesting, both of those grandmothers who were raising children on their own were in foundations. Now, you know what foundations are. Corsets and girdles and things that held up stockings. But my mother's mother had a lot of money. They were part of Simmons Mattress Company and owned Stride Right Shoes, which was the green shoe company. So that grandmother, my mother's mother, had a lingerie counter in Filene's in Boston, which was a very hoity-toity store, probably still is. But my grandmother in New York had a foundations shop on the main street in Brooklyn. So 2 very different women and very different backgrounds and financial situations. So there you go. That's pretty much it. My dad got his degree from Cooper Union. My mother didn't get a degree. And so there you are.
Oh, that's quite a story, Leslie. I've got one quick question because we've already got 4 hands up. You said you were in Boston through high school, but you don't have the Boston accent.
Well, I can park the car in Harvard Square whenever you need me to. Okay. Or I could talk like this because I was born in New York, but I was raised in Boston.
Good answer.
So, and then at 13, I moved to North Carolina. So now I can even talk with a Southern accent. But when I get upset or heated, you'll hear the New York.
Okay. Well, I hope I never hear that. Phil's up.
Hey, Phil.
Hey, Leslie, it's Phil Williams. And normally I start out with, I have a story to tell you. But today I have a question to ask you.
Okay.
I think speaking about my time in Boston in the 2 weeks that I spent in my leadership development class, I remember Filene's Basement very well. I think they might be out of business now, but I do remember going to them and spending some money there. So here's my question to you. Thinking about everything that you have gone through and will go through moving forward, what is the blueprint of your life?
Aim, fire, get ready. So the blueprint is I'm out of the gate before I know where I'm going. Okay, so it's like I get a visual, I get an idea, I have no clue how to do it, but if it appeals to me, I'm already down the road, and I will deal with whatever challenges come up. But that's been my life. Not a lot of planning, just whatever compels me. If it feels right, I typically do it.
Okay.
Fair
So
enough.
when something feels right for you and you typically do it, when it involves other people, what happens for you in that process in the blueprint?
Well, I understand that other people don't think this way and they don't process this way. So, you know, I really step out on faith and belief. I don't know why. I always have. And it builds certain resentment. I've gotten better over the years, but as a human being, no matter how much I've learned about emotional intelligence and emotional awareness, I too have the deep-seated fears that we all have. And I have replaced them pretty well with faith in my ability and deservability. But because we're human, we still stub our toe. And I stub my toe the best with you guys. It's somehow, while I'm not sure I belong, I feel comfortable enough to say whatever feels right for me. And that feeling right is sometimes standing in the face of adversity. What the trouble I have is, and that I'm really getting better at, is for a long time, when I was sure that what I was doing was credible and had the results and was effective, it really annoyed me when anybody else tried to step into that lane. Now I have done a complete paradigm shift, Phil, and all of you, to even my show on Monday is now finding more ways to think new ways, so that not only are we outweighing our reactive fears, our triggers, right, with being strategic in our thinking and objective, but now it allows me to have agile thinking, which means that not only have I outweighed my trigger or my fear, but it means which point of view or perspective is the right context for the group I'm with. So that has been something I've been wanting to do because it just irritated me. It's the fear of judgment, criticism. I'm not good enough. How could they? I know my stuff is better than theirs. I know it is because I have the documentation. Why can't people see this? And now I realize that everybody wakes up at their own time. So what I do now is I just keep giving and providing lots of different guests that have different ways of approaching mindset to find which elements resonate with you.
Hmm.
So I'm not sure that answered it, but I'm going to take a breath.
Well,
Did
I
that
don't know
answer
that.
it, Phil?
Well, I don't. Yes. The reason it answers the question is because you answered the question, and that's good enough for me. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
Looks like Apex got her hand up.
Hi, APEC.
Hi, Leslie. Um, I know you are a strong woman. You are simply amazing.
Thank you.
But I wonder if someone close to you had to describe your superpowers. What do you think they would say? And like, what would be the top 3 superpowers they would say you have?
Oh, that's a good question. So one is that I can explain complex concepts in fourth grade level. Right. So that no matter who I'm speaking to, whatever their level of emotional intelligence is, whatever I'm talking about, it's succinct and it's in the shortest possible form so that there's not a lot of confusion or misunderstanding about what it is I'm sharing. The other thing is I'm a loyal friend to a fault. To a fault. You cannot get rid of me. Once, and I have very few close friends, and I like it better this way. I'm pretty much a hermit, and I have a very tight group of a few people that I am constantly with, and I think sometimes they get tired of me. So it would be loyalty almost to a fault. And what would be the third thing? I have a really good sense of humor. That would be the third thing. Fair enough.
Perfect.
Wonderful answers,
Thank
and
you.
and I would believe everything you said, and but the most important one for me is the humor, sense of humor. You know, we we need it more than ever these days, I think. Thank you so much for your answer. I have a couple of more questions, maybe later.
Okay.
I will give way to Mark.
Thank you. I agree with what Apik said. We all need to show our sense of humor more these days. You can laugh, you can cry, you can run. How about we just laugh a little?
I agree, 100%.
Speaking of laughing, Mark.
I'm not entirely sure how to take that, but I will.
Mark, that's a compliment because you always seem to find a way to chuckle.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Actually, I don't have any questions, but I have a few comments that I would like to make. First, and Dennis talks a lot about walking our talk.
Mm.
If we are going to walk the authenticity talk that we discuss on the bench so much, then, and I know you mentioned the apology early in this meeting. There is no need for you to apologize, because if we're going to accept the authenticity of each other, there's some completeness about that. And I don't think anybody on the bench would suggest for a second that we're without fault. And I don't think you were at fault for expressing yourself. So I am grateful for the apology and for your graciousness. It was not necessary, but this is what I really wanted to say. Whenever I hear cover songs, I always, especially cover songs that I really love, I always hope the original artist can hear it. So I'm going to put something in the chat window, but I also want to say, I hope Graham Nash gets the opportunity to hear you sing Our House.
Wow.
So there's one of my favorite covers in the chat window.
Wow. Thank you. God, Graham Nash. Thank you. What a great intention.
Well, thank you.
I think I'll live into that.
I'm sure you will.
Thanks for that, Mark. Nick.
Thank you, Mark.
There's Nick.
So I think I'm at a little advantage, which is very assumptuous of me. I have known Leslie, I want to say, the last couple of years, and we've just become really, really good friends. We speak every week, sometimes more than once a week, and she's on my speed dial. So I have two questions, because things that I think that I actually don't know, which is weird, because I think I know so much. Do you have a favorite song and why? Because you and I both love to sing, and we still haven't done our duet. Um, all right, so I'll let you answer that one first.
Favorite song? The loveliness of Paris seems somewhat sadly gay. The glory that was Rome is of another day. I've been terribly alone and forgotten in Manhattan. I'm going back to my city by the bay. That's my favorite song. I left my heart in San Francisco.
Oh, I should have known that. And then that's funny because it brings me into the next question in a sort of a way, right? And you can kill me out of saying this, but Meg could know this. So, um, what do you think? Why do you think we have this like extremely? I can't even say how close our relationship is because I really, really feel like I have to see Leslie, right? So, um, you're a boomer and I'm a Gen Xer. When you really think about it, and so much of generational gaps and people not seeing eye to eye and things like that, like, do you sing songs that I have no idea what these songs are? And, like, it just goes to tell you, like, sometimes there are things we think differently about, but things we think so much alike about. And you and I have always been open to expressing ourselves about how we feel with each other. So, like, what do you think, or what advice would you give people out there? Like, I hope this question is making sense, but I think that it's really an example for people out there, the beautiful relationship we have, in spite of the fact that there's an age difference.
So why is that, or is that the question? What is it? Or okay, well, so first of all, Nick, you're the age of my children, and my children are off living their lives, and my children and grandchildren don't know this, Leslie. So this has been an opportunity with you and Aaron, who is also the age of my children, and Aaron and Nick and I and another person are part of a holy trinity, if you will, where we talk like this and we can share freely. So it's really an opportunity to relate better to my own children in a new way. I get to be the Leslie that they don't know with you, and I really like the result of it. The other thing I've learned to do when we cross generations, there's a lot of misunderstanding. So one of the things I've learned, I have a number of friends who are, I don't want to say this, they're outside the norm. So they may be on the spectrum. They may have ADHD. They may have a speck of bipolar. They may have a little bit of this, anxiety. What I've learned is that those people are geniuses. Every person I know that has a touch of this is a genius, does things that I wouldn't even dare doing. And what that's taught me, and I use it now with everybody, is to cut out the sarcasm and innuendo, because not everybody gets it. And there's a lot of people that have a touch. I mean, I think we're all on the spectrum, but we're at different levels at different times in our life. No one is perfect, but we have been raised that this center of the road, average, normal is what we're going for. And we've neglected people that don't fit here. So the best thing that I've learned being on LinkedIn the last couple of years is to understand that not everybody gets my sense of humor. A lot of people prefer to have the direct approach. So it's really twofold, Nicole. It's one that I get to engage with Gen Xers as though we're equals. You never make me feel like I'm the older one. And the other thing is I've learned interacting with a lot of different people over the last couple of years is that you never know who might misunderstand you, so keep it simple. Does that answer your questions, my friend? I hope so.
Oh, hell yes, because I know that the first time I saw you, you were on a live show speaking, and I fell in love with the way you process things. And I thought to myself, wow, that's my mom's name, and my mom had passed away. And as time went by, and then we ended up very close friends, I am really fortunate because I don't think of you as my mother. I think of you as my big sister. And so I get the fun times that you would tag along and play with your big sister, but I also get to get some of the wisdom of my mother, if you will. And I want to thank you for that because I do think that people can miss out on a lot if they don't keep themselves open. Thanks for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for that. Sean.
Hi, Sean.
Wow. Narrowing this down to like one question was like trying to read Think and Grow Rich and get everything out of it in one setting.
Right. That's never going to happen.
That's not going to happen. But what I came up with is if LinkedIn let you add a warning label under your headline, what would yours be?
Prepare to hear how you show up in the world for me. I will acknowledge you. Prepare to hear who you really are for me and in the world. That would be the warning.
Good answer, Leslie.
Thank you.
Good answer and very resonant for me. As you know, I'm all about, acknowledging who people are and helping them see who they are.
Yes, and that came from me realizing that no matter how emotionally aware I might be and how elevated, because it's always an aspiration to continue learning and becoming more and more aware of your infinite potential, which we all have. What I've realized is that no matter how good I do something, the way I think of myself is never as good as the way you tell me how I did. In other words, I think that still our childhood traumas and our fears, which are, I'm not smart enough, I've failed so many times, even though they're whispers now, they still prevent me from being fully confident at all times. So when you tell me something that I've done that you like very much, it always feels better. So I spend a half hour on my Monday show just telling people how they show up for me so that they are gotten, so that I know that they are seen. I don't know who's alone. I live by myself. And with a recent minor stroke, I no longer can drive because I can't see out of my right eye. But don't let that bother you because I just line edited a 400-page book, and this is the thickest book I've ever done. It's like this from a clinician. So I thought for a second, oh, well, Leslie, you won't be able to do that anymore. You can't see out of your right eye. BS. I did just as good. I did just as fine. Right. And I'm grateful that God gave me two eyes. I kind of think that that we all have karma and we're all going to pay. And if that's all I have to pay, I'm okay with it because I was left with one good eye. It could have been so much worse for me, and it wasn't. So I'm not sure where I went with that. Who asked that question?
Sean,
Oh, Sean, and he's off the screen. So does that answer your question? Let me see what he says here. Our only limit is the ones. Oh, hang on a second. It just popped up there. Oh, okay. Let me just see what you say here. And that is why I get a warm spot every time Leslie talks about me. Yeah, I talk about him a lot. He has a show at noon on Mondays that is fantastic. Our only limit is the ones we hold in our minds. Absolutely. Absolutely. So this is something so easy to do, right? And people just love it. Don't you love when people tell you how great you are? I do. And there's greatness in all of us. But you'll notice that we focus a lot of times on what's wrong. And if we only rely on ourselves to evaluate ourselves, that's not a very good judge and jury. So we need people to tell us how we're being great in the world, how we're making a difference. And these don't have to be huge steps. They can be one small thing. What matters is that you're consistent and you show up as doing that every time. So thank you, Sean.
and we're back around to Phil.
Here I am again, Leslie.
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius. So, I might be on that spectrum thing. My friends often tell me that I am an extrovert. So I don't ask any questions. I just accept that I'm an extrovert, and I just continue to be myself.
Right.
You talked about just a moment ago about being great and about showing up and about giving people their flowers while they can yet smell them and see them. So thinking about everything that you have done in the past and even up to now and today, out of all of those roles, Leslie, what's the favorite for you and what kind of joy does it give you?
That's an easy one. So when my children were in middle school and high school, they were in band. My daughter was a flag girl and then a feature twirler. My son was a trombone player. And in our county, a very rich county in North Carolina, Wake County, like in most counties and throughout the country in the 90s, et cetera, a lot of funds were cut for art programs. And so I was the band booster president and managed a 3,000 person on the feet competition of the Tournament of Bands Association every year. And it started in January, the preparation, and completed in October when the event came. People came from up and down the East Coast, part of the Tournament of Bands Association. And I actually got into band boosters because the first week of school, my kids brought home all the papers. But after that, I never saw any papers. I don't know about you, right? So I figured, well, okay, there's another way to beat this horse. I'm just going to get involved in band boosters because there's all these different schedules and you've got to have them at home. And you know how kids are, right? It's stuck in their book bag or in their baton case or in the trombone case. Where's the stuff for this? So for 9 years, starting bringing people from middle school, matriculating into high school to parents, I created a group of 12 subcommittees that created and ran this 3,000 person event. And the best part about it is because the middle school kid parents matriculated up with their kids, so they were assistant directors of these different groups. Now, there's no money, and the idea was to earn a lot of money in a 4-hour period. So we sold food, we sold um, trinkets, we sold all sorts of things because this was our one shot to make enough money for repairs of instruments, new uniforms. I mean, they weren't replaced. So the 9 months every year preparing for this and delegating to all the parents that were going to be with their kids and the younger ones that would matriculate so that this process would stay so that every year they would make $25,000-$30,000, which is what we ended up doing. There was nothing more exhilarating than that each year to see 3,000 kids on the field. And one of the things I did was we decided that all the concessions and all the different ways you could spend money, you could do everything for $20. So we priced, because we knew every kid that came on campus had a $20 bill, right? And so they could eat, they could get a t-shirt, they could send a note to one of the band members on the field, good luck. They could buy a hat. So the idea was for every kid to leave that $20 here with us rather than buying one t-shirt for $20 and then not having any money. So I would say that those 7 years, maybe it was almost 9, where I was the band booster president and we did this every single year, was probably the most joyous accomplishment, right? Including all the kids, and the effort was just magnificent because it was leadership for all the parents too. Then they took it over once my kids graduated, first one and then 2 years later the other one. So there was a system in place to build funds, and that was the best thing I ever did, I think.
Thank you. And I appreciate that as a former band member myself. So, yeah, Leslie, I played oboe in the symphonic band. And when they didn't have enough flute players, I took all of the jabs of being the only male flute player. And so I went out and did what I needed to do. So thank
Did
you.
you on the field? Were you on the football field and you marched?
I was in the marching band. Yes. Fun, fun, fun.
And it was good for the kids because, in a band, everybody is an integral part. Yes, they compete for this chair and this chair, but when they're on the field, they're one unit. And this taught my children a lot of discipline, and they spent a lot of time with the band, traveling and every day after school, which kept them out of trouble. I'm sure, because it was very disciplined. So they didn't have a lot of free time.
I would
So,
agree with that. Hey,
thank
thanks
you,
for the
Phil.
answer, Leslie.
Hey,
Yeah.
Phil, I'd like you to bring your oboe to our next event.
We have already talked about that. And so the answer still stands. Absolutely. I am sure that my oboe embouchure is sitting somewhere on a shelf with a lot of dust on it. So I'm sorry. This time, Dennis, I'm still going to have to say, I'm not going to do that to myself.
I'm going to talk to Hank in the background. I'll get that.
Oh, Hank. Okay.
Okay, and here's EPEC back around again.
Yes. Hello again, Leslie.
Hello, beautiful.
So, one thing I again wonder about you, because I know you have a very full life and a wonderful background. Looking back, what is one risk you took that completely changed your path? Or is there anything like that anyway? Like, if there is, what is it?
This is going to sound a little strange, but it was marrying my second husband, the father of my children. The risk was as I had been married briefly before, and it was a disaster. Not it was fun, but it was not worth going into. I knew the red flags were there, but I had fear because now I was almost 25. And I was married first at 21 for about a year and a half, but now I'm 25. I'm really getting old. And so I settled. I also didn't know what the hell I wanted. Who knows what they want at that age and who is mature enough? Now, do I regret it? No, because I have two of the most beautiful children that I'm so proud of. And he was, by and large, a wonderful provider and father, but he was not the right person for me. So I actually compromised and sacrificed my life in a way intentionally. I chose it the way it was and the way it wasn't. I had to remind myself when things weren't going well, this was your choice, and you can enjoy the good, but you also have to accept the not so good. And so I can't imagine not having my children and grandchildren, but it was a person who was very different from me, raised very different. And if I had it to do again today, I would not have married him. Good question. I don't think I've ever told anybody that.
Well, bingo. Good. Sean.
Sean, you're muted, my friend. Mute, mute, mute. There we go.
Wish I could figure out the shortcut because trying to find the button is a pain. Because I know like StreamYard, you can just do Command D and boom, it's unmuted. But I haven't worked out in Zoom yet. Again, I was tossing a lot of questions, but I know you've been teaching Hill's principles for a long time. And my mom always taught me never to ask a woman her age. So that still sticks with me after all
How
these
subtle
years.
is that?
No. But what I'm saying is I'm wondering, was there a shift pre-midlife, we'll say 50s, or was the big shift post-midlife?
Well, it would have to be midlife. Because my marriage broke up right around 2000. Let's see, we're married in 72, so it was 2003, 2004. When that happened, my kids were gone, and I spent 2 years in the dark, miserable, because I didn't want the marriage to end. I mean, 30 years was a feather in my cap, in our cap. I mean, all of our kids' friends in high school were divorced. So the fact that we had been together for this many years was pretty significant. So when it broke up, I spent 2 years crying in the dark, right? And working during the day and coming home and crying. And then one day I woke up and I said, I'm sick of myself. I'm sick of this. And I immediately registered myself into the Landmark Forum, did the entire program. I had done it in 96, but now I'm on my own. I did the leadership program, the self-expression and leadership program. I did the advanced course. I did coaching. I did the whole thing. I threw myself into that, quantum physics, metaphysics, became very best friends with the Hare Krishna community in Greensboro, North Carolina, which is about an hour and a half from my home. Ate with them, studied with them, saw what the bleep do we know, and really began studying all sorts of different mindset stuff. So I would say midlife. And then around the time 2007, when the movie The Secret came out after the book, I was living in an apartment and doing okay. And I started a meetup group called the Secret Society. And there began this most amazing adventure where every month people who were interested in the law of attraction, remember this is 2007, right? During the year, everybody loved The Secret, and we studied all the practitioners, and we had law of attraction fairs and just played. And then I got a phone call, or I got an email that I shouldn't have opened. But my intuition said, do it. And all this time, I've just loved leading these groups, having little law of attraction fairs. I just make up my mind, visualize something, and then I go do it. I do not have to know how. That's the biggest lesson I've learned. My greatest accomplishments were without knowing how. Because you have to outweigh your fears and you have to be compelled enough to push through those fears when they show up now and then. And that's when a series of things I shouldn't have done, right, that we knew not to do. I ended up on Bob Proctor's site. Who was Bob Proctor? Well, all I knew about him was he was that grandfatherly white-haired man in The Secret, but I'd never heard of him before. And I had been wanting to do this kind of work and loving it. And so I followed this email I shouldn't have opened and went to a website I shouldn't have clicked on, and it was his site. And that's where I learned about Think and Grow Rich. And the following spring, I went down to West Palm and studied with people around the world and became certified as a life success consultant and coach. So there were 10 years before 2008 when I was certified that I've been doing all this work. So then when I learned this, I'm one of the only people left that I know of all the thousands of people that still teach this work. There's almost no one teaching Think and Grow Rich. And it's the answer to wealth, health, and happiness. It has the exact process. It's gathered from 5,000 years of recorded history. The process that's in the book, if you study it, is in the Bhagavad Gita. It's in the Quran. It's in the New Testament. It's on the walls of cavemen, right? But what Napoleon Hill did was he synthesized it into the principles of success at the request of Andrew Carnegie, who wanted to figure out what are people missing that there's only a few people that are wealthy, happy, and healthy. And it really turns out to be mindset work. It really turns out to understand how our minds work. And let me tell you, he is way behind because he was 100 years ago. We know a lot more now. When you go to university and you learn neuro and you learn about biology and CBT and all that, they don't teach you anything about the mind, because it's mostly all empirical, except for Bruce Lipton, who have done scientific studies on actually what is thinking and what is mind. It's an activity. It's not the brain or an organ. So the sad thing is very few people that have the college degree and know about CBT and they're clinicians and they have the PhDs and all that and do not know what the mind does. Not really. So I don't even remember why I went that way. Oh, were we still with you, Sean, with your question, or no?
You were telling, I think you were just building the story of how you had the shift after the 2 years of mourning.
Literally, I was
because that's what it was. It's like you said, a 30-year marriage and it's over.
It was awful.
No matter how you feel about someone, you're going to mourn that. You're going to grieve that.
Yes. And listen, it took 15 years to, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. I mean, you think you're getting it and you're getting out of it, and oh, hell no. It took 15 years to come back around with my best friend who I'd been with for most of my life. and who I'd had children with. So in the end, when he passed away, February or January last year, by the time that happened, we had come back together as a family, friends. So I was very grateful for that. And I had forgiven myself for not being the better wife. Because isn't that what we think? Well, I could have done things better. Maybe if I had noticed or I had listened more and all those kinds of regrets. Well, I forgave myself for that. And that's when I was able to forgive everything that happened. So it was midlife, and I just keep going like the Energizer Buddy. But I'm not that busy. I think you said, I know how busy you are. I have a nap on my schedule every afternoon. So, I mean, come on.
Siesta time is valuable.
So,
And
does that answer
Leslie,
your question?
we definitely, yeah, and definitely, I want to talk to you one-on-one.
Okay.
Because I'd love to tell more of your. I'm writing a book called Reborn at 50. It's the midlife rebellion manual.
Ooh, sounds good.
And
Well,
you're
and
exactly the kind of story that I want to incorporate.
Well, thank you. And Sean was the beta reader for The Possibility of Errata. He was the only male beta reader. I mean, several people on the bench read it, but thank you, Sean, again for that. We needed a man's point of view.
John, great question. Thanks, Leslie. We're down to the last couple of minutes, so I'm going to turn it to Mark, and then I've got one final question for you. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, thank you. Leslie, first, just thank you. Just thank you for this whole session. I couldn't figure out why my face hurt, and then I realized I've been smiling for so long. I need to smile more. And so I have one question, and I don't want it to be attached to anything like regret.
Okay.
But the flip side, it seems to me, of the question that EPEC asked most recently is there a risk you wish you had taken?
Oh. Yes. I was slated to be an actress in Hollywood. That was always my dream. I did theater, and actually I was accepted into a drama program between my junior and senior year, roomed with Catherine Grody, Mandy Patinkin's wife, who just opened a show on Broadway, who was in the Lemon Sisters and Reds, and I performed for Burt Lancaster, did all that dancing, singing, musical theater, and my dream was to become that actress, and I gave up on it.
Well, first of all, thank you for your candor, and I say this all the time, there are no accidents. Last night, Ann and I watched a new documentary about Marilyn Monroe. You may have dodged a cannonball. She did not, and she was quite candid about this, she did not handle fame well. So you may have ended up ahead of that game.
Thank you. Thank you.
Leslie,
Thank you.
one final quick question, and I'm going to wrap this up. What would be the title of your autobiography?
You don't have to know how.
Oh, I love that.
Perfect.
And actually, I determined that in 2008 on a Bob Proctor cruise. I determined that would be the book, and that's what's underway right now.